Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 2 of Youth, Gender and Identity course offered by the Department of Psychology. So, in the previous week, we were learning about the introduction or the concept of youth. We were learning about youth in Indian context. We were learning about the transition from adolescence to adulthood, and we also had a quick glance at what is the concept of sex, what is the concept of gender. Today, we will be learning about certain concepts which can be falling or which can be categorized as falling under the umbrella term youth and identity. Today, we will be learning about gender and identity. We will be learning about sexual orientation, gender roles, gender role attitudes, and gender stereotypes. The term gender identity was coined by Robert Stoller. So he coined the term in 1964. It can be referred as how an individual or how a person sees themselves, whether they are seeing themselves as male or female psychologically. So there are certain people whose gender identity or their perception of themselves as male or female is aligning with their biological sex or the sex they are assigned at birth. They are called as cisgender individuals. There are certain people whose gender identity doesn't match with their biological sex. These people are called as transgender individuals. And there are certain people who are called as transsexuals. Their gender identity doesn't match with their biological sex. So they either undergo surgical or hormonal treatment to change their sex in order to align it with their gender identity. And last but not the least, there are certain people who doesn't feel themselves or who doesn't pursue themselves as male or female. They perceive themselves as neither male or female. They are called as gender queer, gender variant, or gender fluid. Next topic is sexual orientation. It can be considered as the long lasting pattern of your emotional or your romantic or your sexual attraction to either men, women, or both sexes. So, sexual orientation can be discussed or it can be considered based on three categories. Heterosexual refers to people who are sexually or romantically or emotionally attracted to members of opposite sex. Gay or lesbian, these people they are attracted to members of their own sex when it comes to sexual or emotional or romantic attraction. So the men who are attracted to other men are called as gay, and women who are emotionally or romantically or sexually attracted to other women are called as lesbian. Then there is also another category called as bisexual. Here it refers to people who are attracted to both men and women in terms of emotional, romantic, or sexual attraction. We don't know or we don't have a clear cut idea about when does an adult's sexual orientation typically emerges. It can happen between middle childhood or it can happen during early adolescence. So there is no need of having a prior sexual experience for a person to understand their sexual orientation, because people can be celibate and still know whether they are gay, lesbian, bisexual, or heterosexual. Now we will be learning about gender roles. Gender roles refers to the expectations set by the society because they are male or female. So gender role, it can be referred to as a role or behavior which are learned by the person, which is considered appropriate to their gender, and it is hugely determined by the culture in which they are living. There are two theoretical explanations for gender role. First one is gender schema theory. Second one is social learning theory. So gender schema theory suggests that the children, they are actually good observers, they are good listeners, and they will learn anything that they are going to see. So they are going to observe, they are going to socialize with others, then they are going to organize how others are going to behave, how they are what activities they are doing into gender categories, and which is called as schema. Schema can be considered as any mental representation a person can have. So basically, for example, when it comes to firefighters, okay, majority of the firefighters that we see are men. And suppose there are actually female firefighters as well. But since they are very few, even though they have seen one or two female women firefighters in their life as well, they are going to associate the job or profession of firefighting to men. And also, they are going to misremember the information which are not consistent to schema. For example, if a person for majority of their life, they have this mental image or they have this schema that it is women who are going to take care of all the cooking. So if we show them a picture of a man cooking, or if they even see a man that is being cooking in a kitchen, they will not remember it. They will when someone asks them, did you see someone cooking in the kitchen, who it was, they will tell, okay, it was some woman who was cooking in the kitchen, because they are not going to remember the information which are inconsistent to their schema or mental representation. So by only remembering the mental information which are consistent to their schema or the mental images they have of certain things, the gender schemas, it is going to strengthen over time. And second one is social learning theory. So according to social learning theory, it suggests that the gender roles, or how a female or male is going to or expected to be functioning in a society, it can be learned. How we can learn it? Either we can punish the child, or the child can imitate others. That is called as modeling. They can imitate their elders or siblings, or maybe someone who sees as their role models, or because of punishment, they can learn the gender roles. So the children are rewarded and reinforced for behaving in concurrence with gender roles, and they will be punished for breaking the gender roles. So, in addition to that, uh, we are also, that is, by modeling the behavior of others, or especially the elder ones, or by imitating. Another term for modeling is imitation. So basically you see one of the elders behaving, like for example, you see your mother, dressing up in a sari, her cooking in the kitchen, she's serving maybe the cooked food to guest, or she receiving the guest, taking care of the children when they are sick, etc. If they are having this if they are seeing this consistently, that is their mom who is working in the kitchen, so they will, okay, they will think, okay, it is a role of the women, or it's a role of the women folk who are supposed to cook, take care of the household, etc. So they will be also imitating their mom. So if a baby girl sees her mom being always cooking in the kitchen, treating the guest and etc., she will also tend to imitate. So basically, by looking at others, especially adults or their older siblings, or maybe the older children, they will understand, okay, this behavior is appropriate for this particular gender, and they will tend to imitate it. This is how social learning theory explains the gender role. Moving on, next topic is gender role attitudes. So, gender role attitudes can be considered as the views that are held by individuals regarding the role the men and women should play in the society. So there are three types of gender role attitude. First one is traditional gender role attitude. Second one is egalitarian gender role attitude. And the third one is transitional attitude. So these are the three ways in which we can actually consider gender role attitude. So traditional gender role attitude basically means um, if you feel like the men should earn for their household and women should be taking care of the household, being a staying at home, cooking, etc. If you feel like that, then you belong to the people who are having traditional gender role attitude. Second one is egalitarian gender role attitude, which means basically if you feel like both men and women should be independent, both of them should take care of the household, both of them should go to work, should do every responsibility equally. You believe in egalitarian gender role attitude. And the third one is transitional attitude. Here, the transitional general attitude believes that both men and women should be independent and both of them should work, both of them should contribute to their household. But even after that, they still believes that women should, even though they are independent, they should focus on their traditional roles, that is keeping taking care of the household, etc. Whereas men should focus more on their they should also focus a little bit more on their earning for the family, etc., their traditional role as well, apart from being independent. So that is called as transitional role attitude. They are giving importance to them both, men and women being independent, but also they should also perform the societal expectations that each of the gender is asked to do as well. Next one is gender stereotypes. So gender stereotypes can be considered as the beliefs which are typically the characteristics of or based on the behavior of men and women. So basically, when we think about male stereotypes in terms of their physiology, they are considered as very strong, very powerful. They are never tired, whereas women are always considered as weak. And when it comes to emotion, it is said that men never cry, they are very aggressive, etc., while women are perceived as someone who is gentle, who is soft hearted. And men are always considered as someone who is capable of making wise decisions, whereas women are considered as less capable. When it comes to attitude as well, the male stereotypes suggest men are assertive, they're courageous. However, the female stereotypes considers women as being dependent, submissive, etc. So that's all for today. Thank you. Have a great week ahead.